You're racing, some people have a tendency to focus on their front bumper instead of looking ahead. And the further you look ahead, I always tell them the more reaction time you have. You don't have reaction time, you better not race because you're going to be in wrecks all the time.
Completely different.
It's like it's easy to drive from the stands. It's a whole different world when you're on the track. And usually I'm pretty good at watching people, and I can tell when they're going to get themselves in trouble, except for you and your brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, you wanted it, you got it. The place for the untold, real, raw, and juicy stories of dirt track racing. It's Dirt Track Confessions. And now here's your host, Mandee Pauch Mahaney.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dirt Track Confessions. I am your host, Mandee Pauch Mahaney, and today we have my father joining us, brought to you by High Demand, might I add. You are high demand.
Really?
Yes, everyone wants you. So, this episode, I kind of wanted to shine some light that not many people might actually know that Dad actually ran his own racing school. How long did you have the Billy Pauch Racing School for?
Started it.
Hey, don't be chewing on my table. You're already starting with me.
I think started it in '89.
Okay.
And we ran up into, I think it was around 2010 or something. Mm-hmm. It was quite a while. He's hungry.
Yeah, I guess so.
It was quite a while. I did it for quite a while. I started out the first year doing hey you, no chew.
He's back again.
The first year I did it basically with people with their own cars and stuff, and then after a while I offered a car. We put a car together. Actually, when I first started, I used one of my own cars that I raced with, and we put like a tamer motor in it and did that and let the guys drive that. And that worked for a while until I had one guy crash it, and I had to clip it from the front cage forward. And it was a mess. So we ended up buying some cars and making them designated cars for the driving school. I had one or two modifieds and one and two sprints, and we did that for quite a while. It was just a lot of work getting cars ready, mounting tires, and getting cars loaded up. I had a big wedge trailer, and we'd put 3 cars on that, and take one down in a race car trailer and stuff. And you had to coordinate a lot of people to do it. It took a person in with each car, loading people in and unloading them out. And I just basically tried to watch the people when they were on the track. They come off the track, and I would talk to them briefly. I couldn't talk to them for a long time because the next person would be out on the track and I'd have to watch them. So I'd give them a brief summary of what I thought they needed to do to improve their lap times and stuff. And then I'd go on to the next person. And we used to do setup schools here at the shop and talk about setups and driving and everything. It's something that back in the day, it was. I just figured it was a lacking deal. There was a lot of people that didn't, wanted to race and didn't know nothing about it, or the basics. And that's what I got into with the driving school and stuff. And I did it. I don't know. Was that 30 years, 20 years, 25?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Something like that.
It was quite a while. I mean, it was tough when you're racing doing that. And we did parts and sold tires and. We did a lot of different things, but the driving school, mostly I did that in the spring and the fall. And we did, I don't know, about 6 classes a year. It wasn't a lot, but each class we'd have I think we limited to 12 or 15 people. So it wasn't overcrowded. I'd give everybody a fair amount of my time to do it. And like I said, I enjoyed it. It just was... Bringing the cars and doing that part of it was just a lot of work. It was. If I just came in, people had their own cars, it wouldn't be quite so bad. But having to have cars there to unload them and load them up at the end of the day. And I'll tell you, it was a long day. You get up early in the morning and you get down there, you unload, set up, and do the school all day in the sun and stuff, and the wind blowing.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And we did it at a lot of different tracks. I started out, my first one was at Flemington, and I did it there for a few years, and even some of the asphalt. And then I'm trying to think. I did Bridgeport. I did Susquehanna. I did Penn National. Or no, maybe I didn't do Penn National. I did Susky, and then Bridgeport, and
Grandview.
New Egypt.
We did Grandview. I hit the
Oh,
wall.
yeah,
I hit the wall at
that's
Grandview.
right, Grandview. Yep, Grandview was a big one. I think I did that almost every year once I started doing it, and yeah, we did a lot at Grandview.
Now, it's you make a good point because it's something that we don't have to offer people. Like, you want to go and start a career, you go to college. Well, if you want to start racing, where do you start?
Yeah.
Right? Where do you start? So how did you really come up with the idea? I mean, in the 80s, you were busy. You were winning a lot of races.
Yeah.
So to have the time to make that happen.
Mark Kenyon's the guy that talked me into doing it, and like I said, I did it in the spring and the fall there, and it wasn't too bad. But I mean, we were racing, like you said, we were racing a lot back then, and it takes up a lot of your times. But and I could see a lot of drivers needed help, you know. And when you're at the track, you're racing, it's hard to just stop and take time and explain stuff to people. So I figured this is the best way to do it, and you know, we'd have seminars where we explain chassis setups and what to do, this or that. And then when we got to the track, you apply that kind of stuff. So it was big there for a while. I think I was like the first one to do it, and then everybody kind of jumped on the bandwagon. Brett Hearn, Bob McCready, Kenny Tremont, and then everybody kind of jumped off the bandwagon. And, you know, depending on how much work it was, I know I did it the longest and of anybody, and offered cars and everything. And even when I stopped doing it, I had people for years afterwards call me to do it.
Oh, I still get messages.
Yeah, about a driving school. And, you know, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed it. I really did. I liked working with people, trying to, you know, get them faster on the track and stuff. And, you know, a lot of good people came out of the school that, you know, went on to do me good. You know, I mean, I had Brett Marks, Jessica Zemkin. You know, there was a lot of people that went through it that, you know, not that they were good drivers. They just, you know, you get a few tips. Every time you get a tip or an idea or something to make you go faster, it's worth it, you know. Even if it's, my father said, you learn one thing a day, it's something new, you know, that you got more in your knowledge how to be fast at a racetrack.
Yeah, because a lot of people now, I mean, I know there's, what is it, like Kenny Schrader, I think, has a driving school. I don't know if that really applies to us.
They're more of a ride-along thrill deal, you know, and we kind of did that too, and we take so many people with our cars and put them in it. There were people that weren't sure if they wanted to do it or not.
Yeah,
and it's a good way.
That's what your cars were for.
Yeah, that was what my cars were for people that, you know, wanted to race and didn't know much about it. Before they buy it, it's like, try it before you buy it.
That's
you
smart.
know? So we put people in there, and a lot of them did go on to race, and some of them, as you can know, you helped with a lot of the driving schools. Some of them, I had them come every year. They were like regulars.
Dedicated.
They
They loved
regulars,
it. They loved it.
And I had a handful of guys that every year they'd come and run with us.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
But, still not trained yet.
Yeah. So for some reason he's wet.
Oh, boy.
But, you know, like I said, it was neat, and I enjoyed it. But like I said, I thought maybe when I retired I'd do it, you know, keep doing it. But I just got to a point where I wanted to slow down, and you know, I dropped the parts business. I dropped tires. I dropped the driving school.
Yeah.
You know, I just went down to racing, which, you know, racing was my main thing I loved the
That's what
most,
you enjoyed.
you know,
Yeah.
and so I kind of cut back to just doing the racing part of it. And, you know, a lot of times when they have rookies at Bridgeport, I did it in New Egypt. I do rookie orientation, like take them around the track,
nice.
explain stuff to them, because guys don't know where to get on the track, get off the track, what to do. If you break, don't stop in the middle of the track. Try to blend up to the top of the track. Whatever side of the track you're on, try to get to that side of the track and get stopped so you're not going to get run over by people behind you. And just basics, you know, trying to, you know, instill it in their mind that when you're racing, some people have a tendency to focus on their front bumper instead of looking ahead. And the further you look ahead, I always tell them the more reaction time you have. The more reaction time you have, the less you're in accidents.
Yeah.
Because you can see certain people look ahead because they're not in accidents that much. And other people, they're in accidents all the time. It's like they're looking at their front bumper and they're not looking
Paying
out.
attention, yeah.
And I always explain to them, the further you can see ahead, the more reaction time you have. The more reaction time you have, the less you're going to be in accidents. And the less you're in accidents, you just paid for this course.
Yep.
You know, if I can save you one crash, because crashes are expensive, and if I can keep you out of one crash, you paid for the course.
Absolutely. So going off of that, I mean, I'm sure someone somewhere along the lines maybe have thought about it, but it kind of makes me think like, as a sport as a whole, oh boy, we're playing with light bulbs now. That's dangerous. Right. As a sport, like as a whole, we all want more people coming in, new people coming in. So I wonder, like, would tracks be open to having the idea of like, you know, try before you buy? Has anyone done that?
Well, New Egypt had a ride along. Remember that?
Okay, yeah.
That used to drive me nuts.
Yeah.
Come on, get online. We're going to run your feature out. And we'd be sitting there in 100 degrees.
waiting.
Wait, we're going to run the two-seater. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, I hated that thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna volunteer to drive it so I could just drive it all and finish it off because it wasn't the proper thing to do in the middle of the night.
No.
When people come to watch a race, you know, they don't want to see people riding around in a two-seater. Mm-hmm. So after the race or before the race, I got no problem. But when I'm lined up in my car with all my suits and stuff on, and it's hot, and they got to have a ride along, it's like that's not the time. But
Definitely not.
It was something they tried, and it went for a while, and it kind of fizzled out. Mm-hmm. Two-seaters and stuff. I think it was a two-seat modified.
Yeah.
I had a two-seat late model.
Yeah. Okay, if anyone could see this dog right now, he's gonna hurt himself, but he'll learn, right? Is that the deal?
As long as they don't swallow a light bulb.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I was thinking, though, is we get messages like Mike, Billy, all of us get messages of, people looking for advice and people, oh gosh, hang on. Let me.
You were talking about people approaching Billy and Mike about
like
setups
help
and
guidance. And as you, like, we want them to succeed. We want them to do well, but like we have to worry about our own selves and our success. So it's, who out there can do what you were doing and allow people to try it before they buy it, or like at least get some advice. Because I know, is it, I think Barron's or is it Andy Speed? Someone like New York places, they've been offering like schoolings, like a day in the winter. What do you call that?
What's his name? I know setups and stuff. T.O. does that.
Yeah.
Bert Heisel does that, which is good, to go there, any tips you get. And they get guys with in the industry come in. But I think Barron's does it too, right?
Now he's just doing circles. I'm pretty sure Barron's does it, yeah. Do you see him doing circles right now?
He's thinking about laying down.
I hope so.
He's a race dog. He does circles.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, so that's what I'm getting at is if we want more people and we need to be able to offer something.
What
do you think?
I mean, really, there's a position out there. Yeah, this sport needs people to try to bring people in and teach them and learn them and everything. And it's something that like I said, I just didn't. I enjoyed it, and I probably wouldn't mind doing it part-time or something, but I wouldn't want to be doing it full-time. It's I'm past that. I want to relax and not be obligated to be at a track and teaching people all the time. But
so if anyone wants to rent Billy Pauch for the day, may as well use you up.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's like when you, I mean, I can see it right here is you have this chalkboard with a racetrack on it. And like when you had people come and like the seminars, right? What were the things that you would kind of coach them through?
Basically we take them right from the pits out onto the track. It all starts in the pits. You get in the car, you strap up your seat belts, your arm restraints. Now you got Hans's, your gloves, all this stuff you got to put on, and you get up in line, and just for say somebody's working on it, I always tell them, you're sitting in line, there ain't nothing to do. reach down, make sure your fuel's on. That's number one. Somebody may be working on a carburetor, you shut the fuel off, you'll get out there, you'll run out of gas. And it's like, you don't know, you know. Another thing is maybe you didn't strap your helmet, or you ain't got your Hans hooked or something. There's so many things when you're sitting there.
You could be doing.
To make sure when you pull out on that track, you're ready. You know you're ready. Everything's tight and everything's right. The steering wheel's on. Sometimes you don't get the wheel popped on right, and you get out there and you get driving, boom, the wheel pops off. It's like pretty scary.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day before they had the spring-loaded steering wheels, we had a pin we'd have to put in. And I tell the guys, I said, make sure your pin's in. You're sitting there. I do it all the time. It's just, I call it a nervous reaction. I sit in line. I make sure my thing's on. I'm reaching down, make sure the fuel's on. If I have a brake shut off, I clear it, because sometimes if you don't turn your brake shut off back on and clear the line, sometimes it'll bypass and you'll start locking up a right front brake. But basically, right from there, I get them to where they get out on the track. They know where they're going to start. They went and looked at the starting lineup. Okay, I'm going to be 8th. I'm behind so-and-so. So I'm starting 8th. The 7 cars in front of you. Well, one of them don't show up. That means you're going to move up a spot. So you got to realize this, because that's the easiest spots to pass is under caution when nobody's paying attention. Ooh, you just slide up.
Yep.
And now they got radios. They got scanners. They tell you what to do. They tell you to cross over, line up, whatever. It's pretty brainless, but back in the day they had chalkboards. They'd be pointing at you and hollering at you to get where you're supposed to go. So it's a lot. It's a lot easier with the scanners and them telling you what to do. But get out on the track, get lined up, get ready for the start, and watch the flagger. He gives you the white flag. That means next time around you're going to fire off. You'd be ready, and just things like that, what to expect on a restart, what people are going to do, try to put it in your mind what's going to happen and be ready for it, And like I said, the biggest thing I try to preach to everybody is you always looking ahead, It's your reaction time. Reaction time is everything in racing. When you don't have reaction time, you better not race, because you're going to be in wrecks all the time, And trying to get drivers to be smooth, not whip right or whip left, because when you quick turn right or left, you don't have blinkers, and the guy behind you don't know what you're doing, and he's coming up the outside, and you whip quick, boom, he's in the wall. You could be in the wall. Usually take you around in the wall too. So it's always better if you're gonna, you're gonna move up, kind of do it gradually. So if somebody's coming, it's sort of like putting a blinker on it. Yeah, this guy's coming up, and you get out of it. You don't. When he whips up, boom, he hits you, sends the other guy in the wall, and it's like there's a big fight. Just things like that. Just trying to keep them out of trouble and what to expect from all the years I did it and experience and stuff. And, when the caution comes out, get single file, all that kind of stuff. That's all kind of stuff we got to teach BP3 because he's never raced, and sit down and explain it to him. And when you get out there, it's a whole different world. People don't realize when you're on a track, it's a whole different world.
It looks completely different.
It's
completely different.
It's like it's easy to drive from the stands. It's a whole different world when you're on the track. And when you get going around there, it's like people think they're going fast and somebody goes by and it's like, wow, I thought I was really going, It's like the driving schools. I laugh. I never push people to go drive over their heads. They come in. How do they look? You look good. You're holding the line. You're doing what I tell you. It's up to you to progress from there. I said, you go out and you start at a slow pace. You progress, and pick your speed up. You don't go out there 100 mile an hour, run into the wall, fold the car up, and we're done for the day. You kind of progress up to it.
I always loved the people, even in the sprint cars, they'd roll in. And even out on the track, you can hear them yelling excitement. They weren't going fast, but they're through their helmets, they're just so freaking stoked. And
I stand there and watch them, and if I see they're getting a little higher or something, I'll either bring them in or I'll step out on the track and go like this and try to pull them down so they get a lower line. So they got, I call it a buffer zone, where you got, if you do screw up, you're not against the wall and you go into it. You got a little bit of buffer zone to get up there and collect the car up and get it turned and go on, And usually I'm pretty good at watching people, and I can tell when they're going to get themselves in trouble, except for you and your brother.
I don't know. I heard BP3 practice and went off the track last weekend.
Yeah,
So
well, first time, what are you going to do? But I remember taking Billy to Syracuse the only year he ever went there, and he's out practicing. I'm like, I think I better bring him in. He's getting a little wobbly. And
at Syracuse?
Syracuse,
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
He ran the Sportsman there.
Yeah.
And damn if the caution didn't come out. I said, man, I bet that's him. He spun out coming out of two and crashed.
Yep.
You know, I was just that short of pulling him off before he did it, you know. And
You mean that's like me when I hit the wall at Grandview?
yeah. You got to know when you see people starting to get, I call it getting in over their head in the water. You got to pull them back.
Reel them back in.
And try to level them out and say, hey, look, you need to be in this part of the track, not out that part of the track, and roll out of the throttle here and get on the brakes there. And you know, that's a lot of stuff. It takes years to learn, you know, and some people are naturals at it. They can get in anything and go fast and not crash, but some people, it takes longer. It's like Billy. He was a little bit later of a bloomer than I was. I jumped in, boom. And I always kind of figure things out a little quicker when I go to a new track or a new surface or something. I'm usually a little better than a lot of people because they can figure it out quicker.
Yeah. And this totally reminds me when you said BP3, because Billy was asking, and it's free game. Whatever he's chewing on, just let him do it. He's content. Billy was asking if we still had the chalkboard for BP3. And I was like, that would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Because he's getting the laps, but he's not out there with other cars. You know, he's just driving in circles. Does he know what he's really doing?
He's only 7 years old, and expansion
His brain
is small, you know, their attention span there. And but he's pretty sharp. He picks up stuff. I notice when we're somewhere and he'll be with me and I'm talking to somebody and I tell him something and I don't think he's paying attention, but he gets back and he tells his father everything I said word for word. And it's like, wow, I didn't think he really paid attention. So I think that way he's going to be pretty sharp, you know, as far as he's mechanically getting there. We let him do stuff, do the air and measure the tires and all that. And, you know, he's going to learn, you know, I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And it's I really like I feel that's kind of what you did. You did it with me too, is, you know, you basically were like, I don't know how you worded it or how it was in your brain, but when I was in high school, you had me run powder puff. You know, I'd bring my own car. I forget, like, what was it, like the rocker stuck when I was practicing it in the back track. In the field, and I had to freaking fix it, and oh my God. But you basically were like, you need to try it, otherwise you won't know. Yeah. You know, and so for BP3, like, Billy, he doesn't want to really put the pressure on him. Like, he's still a kid. Have fun with it. He's still a kid.
He needs to, you know, my opinion is they start kids a little too early in racing, you know, but especially with the bigger cars. These are actually a slingshot's a pretty big car for a little kid. I mean,
for him, he's so tiny.
Full size people drive them things, you know.
Yeah. So I guess one of my questions going through all this, I've always wanted to know, and I don't think I've ever asked you. So, like, you know, you start a feature, start a heat race, whatever. You know, you're on the inside and you go up to the outside, you pass all these cars, caution comes out. How do you know to make the same move or not?
Usually that don't happen twice because people see what you did and they'll block you.
You showed your hand, right?
You showed your hand, but then on the other hand, they don't think. On the other hand, they may not think you're going to do it twice the same way.
It's such a head game. It's always boggled my mind. It's like, how do you know what to do? Mm-hmm. How do you decide?
It's just an instinct, you know. I mean, I've had that happen at Grandview where there was a restart, and I went from like fifth to first. Boom, the caution comes out. Oh, no, that ain't going to happen again. And damn if I don't do the same exact thing the same way, and I got the first, and the caution didn't come out, and I won. You know?
Yeah. I guess it's kind of like a toss up. It could work, could not work, but okay. So I guess maybe we'll one more question, unless you come up with anything else, is, you know, how can someone new in racing tell when their car isn't properly set up right? I mean, other than like you're hitting the wall, you're bouncing all over the place. Like,
basically, yeah. I mean, if you're just sliding all over the place and you're in trouble bouncing off other cars. And are we all right? Are we comfortable? Are we all right?
You should see how this guy sits.
Is that better? You good now? Smile for the camera. Usually if you're in trouble out there, somebody will tell you. You know, it's like
black flag.
You need to do something with your car. And a lot of times people, you know, I try to help them. They're so far out in left field that, you know, they're going to crash me or somebody else or hurt themselves, you know. And you know, you asked me the best way to learn is get with a team, and if you're going to race, is spend a year or two or maybe more with a team to see how it's run, how it's done, how you get there, unload, and set the cars
like
up.
not as a racer, but
No, as a crew member.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Start somewhere.
You got to start somewheres, and because there's no school for racing around here anymore, I would say that's probably one of the best things you can do is just get with somebody and spend some time with them to learn all the fundamentals of, you know, stagger and tires, prep, and all that kind of stuff, what you need to do.
Yeah.
Set up, just, you know, pay attention to it. And, you know, you get around with somebody and learn all this stuff, you know, if you're really serious about racing, you know. I mean, Billy started so young with me. He started racing when he was 9, so he just kind of did his own thing. He didn't really go with me that much, and he'd go now and then, but it wasn't like, you know, I helped my father for a couple of years before I raced, you know, when I was young, before I raced. I worked on his cars and went to the races with him, and a lot of times it'd be just me and him, and I remember one time we left the farm, we drove the 5 Mile Point for a big race there and missed it by 1, and we drove to Middletown the next day for the Eastern States 200 and missed it by 1, you know, so it was pretty disheartening, but it was a good learning experience, and I had a good time, and, you know, it was neat, and that's how you kind of learn. I mean, if you really want to do it, that's how you learn. You know, you get around people that know something, and you try to take in what you can take in and learn, so when you do it, you have an idea what's happening.
That makes perfect sense. It's like having an internship, right? An intern, or you being as the driver, when you become a driver, being with different teams, seeing how they function and taking the bits and pieces. Like that's how I've ended up where I am now is I've worked with different companies, different series, you know, different owners and teams, and you just mesh them together to find what's the most efficient way and successful way. That makes the most sense.
Yeah. I mean, like I always say, you get around good people, you learn good habits. You get around bad people, you learn bad habits. And that's just the way life is in the world, you know. And that's how you learn, you know. You try to get around good people. And it's the same thing when you have a race team. You try to get good people around you to make you look good, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dad, thank you so much. This was very insightful. I enjoyed this. I mean, I enjoy every time you come on. Promise, love you. But if you guys enjoyed this, make sure to screenshot it, share it, tag us on social media. Comment below the next topic we should have him on. What should he cover? I had him sit down and I was like, Dad, what do you want to talk about? He's like, I don't know, you don't have anything planned. So it's
usually nice when somebody tells you, oh, we're going to talk about this. Yeah. You can think about it for a day or two. It's like, she just winged it. I sit down and it's like, what are we talking about? God, no.
You nailed it. You nailed it. It was great. I'll prep him for further notice. So you guys comment, let us know what kind of topics, what questions you guys have. Maybe yes.
I didn't tell you about the most famous person that took my driving school, did I?
It wasn't me. So who was it?
Bill Elliott.
Oh yeah. Okay. Because that's when
Ray Everham.
Ray had the whole day. Yeah.
And he actually, it wasn't really a driving school. It was, they came up and Ray rented my school for the day, and I think it was Bill Elliott, Jerry Mayfield, and there was a third guy there. It was all Ray's drivers.
Yeah, at the time, yeah.
Yeah, and
that's
they
pretty
came
cool.
out, and Ray even drove too, and we had a good time. That was a good time that day, and Bill Elliott, I remember the first time he went out in the sprint car, and I have like a rev chip, so it doesn't rev real high.
Yeah.
And it was starting to break up. I said, whoa, stop it, and I reached under the hood and pulled the rev chip. I said, you can go fast now.
That's pretty cool.
But it was neat. That was, I got pictures of it. It was a good time, you know.
Yeah, you gotta, that's one of the many things you taught me is, we do this for a living, but you have to have fun doing it.
Yep.
You really have to have fun, and making the impact on others is everything.
It's, it's nothing better than having a job that you enjoy.
Yeah. Amen.
That shows some reward,
Absolutely. Well, Dad, thank you again for joining us. We will have you back on again soon, I'm sure.
Open house, right?
I'll mark you on the calendar. Yes, July 23rd, 12 to 4 o'clock is our open house. If I actually created a Facebook event. If you follow us on Dirt Track Untold Facebook, I created an event. So feel free to go over there, follow it, show that you're interested, whatever floats your fancy. And we'll be sharing. We're in the works with whoever we're going to be donating our stuff to.
We usually do a benefit to benefit hurt drivers. And the last one we did the Kingwood Rescue Squad.
Yes.
This one, we're going to do Shriners Hospitals. Mm-hmm. I got in touch with Jim Potts. He's a Shriner. And I always wanted to do something with them. And Jim's involved with it. So he's going to be up here. And whatever we donate on panels or something.
Whatever we bring in basically is what we donate.
We just give it to Shriners. And like I said, we turn around. We try to have free food and drinks for everybody to show up, just to show our appreciation for you guys coming to the track and watching us and buying our apparel.
It's basically it's like a carnival, but without the rides.
That's it. We got a lot of stuff to look at.
Yep.
A lot of people to see and talk to and sign autographs. And
it's a fun time.
It's pretty neat. We have the trophy room open. I have, the whole shop's open. Now Mike's in here. Billy's in the back. I'm in the front.
You got BP3.
BP3. All my cars are gone except for a Speedster. So well, my old cars. I got my old car down there. So I got a couple old cars I kept. And we have the pole barn with suits and
got some new stuff coming too.
Yeah, we'll have some new stuff. We'll have the sprint car here and the L car. And, I'm trying to think. We'll come up with something new.
Yeah, so definitely follow the event on Facebook so that way you are up to date on all the new stuff brewing for it. But without further ado, thank you again, Dad, and everyone else. We will catch you next week, same time, same place, and hopefully, if not, we will see you all at the races. Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.